Oh shit, I'm live. All right, it's been a long time since I've done this shit, so let me look at this user interface and make sure I understand it um, while I wait for you guys to come in and say what's up. Nope, I don't want to do that. All right, so there's some people here. So there's Mike and Ross and RHYS. I don't know how to say that, but I'll go Lions. And Nico. What's up, everybody? Would you produce blues? No, I don't want to produce anything right now, man. I'm over. My schedule is maximized. I'm producing kids now. uh, so yeah, everybody just say hi and just keep them coming. I'm gonna wait another, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll just start answering all your bullshit. That's pretty much what I'm doing today. You guys probably saw the announcement, so you know what's going down in my world. This is more for me to just let you guys ask me whatever the fuck you want, and I will answer to the best of my ability. What's up, Bobby Fraser? Longtime fan. Uh, Jimmy likes my voice, and I appreciate that. I think I sound like a freaking kook. What's up, Ross and Christian? I'd love to come to Argentina. I don't know why we haven't been there, but I'm sure we will correct that at some point. Um, let's see. Fort Myers. Yeah, it's been a long time since we've been there. Peoria. Is that Haley? Haley, you need to move, sweetheart. Like, it is too cold in Peoria. It's always freezing 6 months of the year. It's gray. Not currently. Currently, you have summer, which is amazing, but. All right. Well, shit. So, let's see what we got now. Let me read some of these questions. Did you all get royalties from Debonair being played on Fast and Furious? Yes, I do. Actually, every quarter, um, as a professional artist who has published many songs, I get an accounting for publishing and for places that my music has been played. And that is always one that it doesn't pay a lot. Like, it's not like you would think, but it's a consistent little drip of revenue because that movie just continues to be played all around the world on all types of platforms. So that's one of the most consistent forms of revenue from my past work that we refer to as mailbox money, meaning that we don't have to do anything more for it, which is pretty cool. Um, all right, so please bring the Rise of the Machine tour to the Machine Shop. Yeah, that would be fun. We love playing the Machine Shop, but I think the tour already has a date in Detroit at St. Andrews Hall. So I don't think that you'll be seeing us at the Machine Shop on this run. Um, let's see here. Are you zero? If you watch the video, you will see me admit to being zero, but not the one you think. Zero with a Z, from a project that I did back in 2014, 15, 16. It was called Drama Club. Um, I won't. I won't ramble about that right now because you can watch the video and it gives you a pretty good pointed description. But if you have specific questions about it, here I will answer them. Um, Let's see here. Will you release Felons Life Group Therapy on vinyl? Yes, we are in the works of doing a 25th anniversary of Felons and Revolutionaries on vinyl. That will obviously come out here in another little more than a year when we get to the 25th anniversary. Um, Edsel, does your dope meet and greet take place during the Fear Factory set? No. I believe the plan, because they all take place on the bus, will be that they will take place after the entire show is over. So you'll be able to watch all the bands play and then come kick it on the bus. Let's see here. Chris Rather really likes black metal. All right, dude. Cool. Are you going to make it to Phoenix? I don't know when. I don't have the dates in front of me, but I'm sure if the tour is going to Phoenix, I'll be in Phoenix. Baton Rouge. There's currently no Louisiana shows. And guys, just so you know, whatever dates are there, that's the dates of the tour. Like, this was a tour that was booked a long time ago, and then it got moved twice because of COVID. So I don't see anything being changed or added to it. That's going to be the spring tour, but you know, it's a long world, so that's about it. Why isn't Life on Spotify? I'm pretty sure it is. You might be in another country. Sometimes there's restrictions in different countries based on their copyright issues, and we don't have anything to do with that. So it should be. If you're in America, I know it's up there. If you're not, I apologize, but we don't have anything to do with it. Somebody's asked me if AC's playing on the tour. AC's always my first call, but AC has a lot of stuff going on. As you guys know, he's in the Misfits, and he's also playing in Till Lindemann's band now. So if he's available, I'm sure he will be there. As of right now, I'm anticipating him being there, but I would say it'll be hard to tell until we get closer to the tour and everybody figures out what they got going on. Anybody asking me about this dude that got arrested back in 2004 for doing some really whack shit? I have no interest in giving the dude the 10 seconds that I'm giving him right now. Like, Google, just horrible, not interested, brings nothing to the party, has nothing to offer me in my life on a personal or business level. Just a pain in the ass. That's all that dude has ever been. And just, you know, wants to glob on to everyone else's hard work and success because he fucking blew it for himself and is just sitting home crying and trying to glob on to other people's shit. So my answer is that. Dope and Motionless in White. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I'm really a big fan of what those guys do. But, I mean, they have so much heat right now that they would have to call us because they put together their own tours and they do bigger tours than we do. So if anybody knows those dudes and wants to tell them to hit me up, I would be certainly very happy to share the stage with them. Let's see here. Not very good odds, Ryan, that we'll be doing Sing on the Rise of the Machine tour. It's going to be more of an industrial metal leaning tour. I do plan to change the set list up a bit and try to do some stuff that we haven't done in a long time, maybe even some stuff we've never done before, but it will definitely lean more in like the old school industrial metal dope vibe, just because that's the tour. It's the 20th anniversary of Static X's Machine. That was when it was originally announced, which was also like the 20th anniversary of Dope's life. So I think we'll just lean towards the heavier stuff. Joel, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. Edsel, Permanence from Static X is a masterpiece. Yeah, that's a cool song. I would anticipate that Static X will likely play that song since they are planning to lean towards playing a lot off of Machine. I'm sure they'll also play all the good Wisconsin Death Trip hits too. Edsel, if you were to pick 3 favorite songs you've ever recorded, which ones would they be? Ooh, that's a tough one. I've recorded a lot more songs than you're even aware of. If I'm just going to say dope songs, like the 3 dope songs, Man, I don't know. I don't think I can answer that right now. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I have to really think about that because I feel like it's on the record. Um, will Dan and Virus be rounding up the tour lineup? That should be the plan. It should be myself, Virus, Dan, and AC. Um, but again, we just got to wait and make sure everybody's schedules work out. But, you know, no matter what, I'll have a group of badass thugs with me and we will do what we do. Um, let's see here. Man, this thing moves so fast. I got to keep my finger on it. Kevin Kerber says, "Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. It's been a long time." All right. See lots of people throwing song titles out there for me to consider for the tour. I hear you. Zach wants to know if I'm ever going to let my hair dread up again. I would say unlikely. Maybe, though. It's already kind of shitty, but I don't think so. Um, for other reasons, I got to keep my hair in a straight mode. Virus is doing good, man. Go follow him on Instagram. He's easy to find. Any chance of us hearing End of the World and Should Have Known Better live? I don't know. Maybe. End of the World could maybe fit into the mix. The problem is we have too many songs and not enough time when we're in these support slots. If we headline, we have a lot more time. But on this particular tour coming up, you know, it'll be a pretty condensed set. Let's see. Joshua Gorshin says, "Congrats on getting clean." What does that mean? Clean. I've never been a junkie, ever. I've never had a drug problem, ever. I've never had a drinking problem, ever. I appreciate the compliment, but I think you got the wrong guy. AC is 20 plus years sober. That guy used to be a fucking disaster, but he has just turned his life around and is one of the most amazing people that I know. And I know a lot about addiction because I have been around a lot of people that have suffered from it, some who have turned their lives around and made incredible steps in life and become incredible inspirations for others, and some that just could never get it together, and some that aren't with us anymore. And it's a pretty fucking heavy thing. But I personally have never had that problem. Ambition is my drug, people. And I love to smoke weed, but I go through phases now where, like, I'll smoke weed every day for 6 months and then I'll just stop and won't smoke for a year or whatever, and then I'll pick it back up again. But I'm currently on a no smoke just because, you know, I'm clear and enjoying the clarity. And I was smoking to finish up the last Dope record, Blood Money Part 0, and then as soon as I handed the record in, I was like, all right, now I can put the weed away for a little while. Let's see here. Any gigs soon near Pittsburgh? Yeah, in Pittsburgh in spring. If you go to our website, www.dopetheband.com, it has all the tour dates, but the tour that we're promoting right now is the Rise of the Machine tour, which is February, March of 2023 with Static X and Fear Factory. I would get tickets ASAP because I do believe that now that we're getting closer to the dates, and now that COVID is sort of becoming something that we're not all freaked out about. When I say we're, I mean the world. I was never freaked out about it. I would say that ticket sales are going to pick up fast. So especially in the smaller venues, I would get your tickets soon, because otherwise I think you'll be left outside. Let's see here. Man, these questions go by so quick, guys, and then I lose them because I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. I need like a person here with me. Let's see. Well, their headline tour and the new album drops. I don't know. I'm juggling a lot of things right now, so it's difficult. This guy wants to know if I still drink. I never really drank a lot. Like, I won't say that I never drank, because I did, but it's more of just like, you know, every once in a while. I've never been a day drinker. I've never been a guy that drinks a beer while he watches football. It's more like, you know, if I'm out partying, then I would drink. But now I'm fucking old, so I don't party anymore. Like, a party for me is like a birthday party with a bunch of kids running around. So that's about it. So AJ Coffee, Chelsea Elizabeth, you're asking about Sinister. Yeah, Sinister's my dude. He was the singer of Makeshift Romeo. He's Trip Tribbett that was the singer of Twisted Method. Yeah, he now is he's a Southern Fried DJ in Nashville. The brother of Greg Tribbett from Mudvayne. He tours with this super big country band called Big and Rich, and he's like their Flavor Flav hype man DJ, and he's having a great time down in Nashville doing his thing. So love him. He'll always be part of the team. Wish you guys were at Blue Ridge Rock Festival. Yeah, it just the scheduling didn't work out this year. Again, if you guys watch that little, I know it's long and people don't have very long attention spans nowadays, but I put out like a little 10-minute video that if you go to the Dope Facebook page, it's actually pinned to the top. If you watch that thing for 10 minutes, you'll understand a little bit better what's going on in my life and why I can't be as active as I once was as far as touring. I just got so many things that I'm juggling, and I want to make sure that everything that I'm working on gets the proper amount of my attention. And it's all good, you know. Again, I just put out a dope record. Opinion on Pantera. I mean, dude, that's a little tougher for me. Just because they were brothers. But honestly, it's hard for me to say because I don't know. But I think that they're doing it right with the people that they've chosen, and I think that that's important. I think that, you know, if you're gonna do something to represent or replace Dime, like Zach's the guy to do it with. And I think the drummer that they chose was also a really good fit because that dude's been around forever and everybody knows him. So I think it's good. I'll reserve my judgment until I see it. And if I see it and it feels like Pantera and it gives me goosebumps and it makes me feel that feeling that I want to get from seeing Pantera, then it passes the test and it gets my vote. It's very similar, like the whole Static X thing. Like that was all that I think any of those dudes or myself, you know, being involved on the back end of that wanted was for people to just come see it. And if it moves you and it feels like Static X and it gives you that feeling that you got back in 1999 when you first saw them, and you walk away feeling like that experience touched you, then it works and it allows you to hear those amazing songs live and loud like they were supposed to be heard. So I feel the same way about Pantera. I think it all comes down to we have to see it and then judge it. I think it's wrong to judge it before, and then if you see it and you don't like it, then you don't have to come back or participate in it anymore. Static X question: what song do you never get tired of and say to yourself, "Ooh, I lost it"? I love the whole Wisconsin Death Trip record. Like, one thing that you guys may not realize is that, okay, so if you take me back to 1999 in my career, we did Dope Static X Fear Factory. Then shortly after, we did Dope Static X Power Man, Dope Static X Seven Dust. And we did 2 runs around the country. It's just Dope and Static X. So in a short time, and really a span of about a year and a half, we played probably 200 shows with Static X. So we all became really good friends, but even more so than that, because we were always on before Static, because they came out a little bit before us and ultimately broke bigger than we did. Every night when I would get done playing, and I would go change and then ultimately go out into the club to meet fans and sign autographs and just, connect with people because the band was brand new, Static X would be playing live, and they're playing Wisconsin Death Trip. So like in many ways, that Wisconsin Death Trip album is like the soundtrack to like the early parts of my career and my life. So I'm very connected to that record on so many levels. I think my favorite Static X song off that record is probably Love Dump, just because it's brutal and heavy and militant, but it also has a really super awesome melody in the chorus. And I don't know. I still say that that album translates better in a live room than any album that I've ever really heard. Like, I don't know why, but something about the way those songs were written and the tones just make that record sound better live than it does recorded. And it sounds great recorded, but I don't feel that way about Dope records. Like, I'd rather listen to Dope records in a car stereo than live. I think they sound better in a car. But Static X, I think they always just sound better live. Those songs just translate better live. And I think that's one of the reasons the band was so popular, was because so many people saw them live and then went and bought the record because it sounded so good live. So that's my take on that. But I've always been a big fan of that band and what they do, and I'm super glad that they're back, and I'm glad that I got to help them. And it's just really great. They're out on tour with Rob Zombie right now, playing to huge crowds, and have really reestablished themselves as like the legacy act that they deserve to be. What do you guys want to know about the new Blood Money Part Zero album? Any questions about that? I don't know what the hell you would ask, because you're still waiting to hear more music. You guys only heard 2 songs so far. Let's see. Another person asking about Virus. Yeah, man, he should be there. I can't tell you with certainty, but we're planning on it. I haven't played a show without Virus in a long, long time. So, and I don't think there's gonna be COVID restrictions, everyone. Like, I mean, this world's fucking crazy and shit could change, but it seems like at this point that shit's all gone away. Like, I think all those rooms that this tour is playing, I don't think that those are going to be things that we have to worry about come spring of next year. Let's see. Are you guys going heavy old school or what? I don't know, dude. Like, that's a hard one for me, because I feel like it's all the same. But yeah, I think saying that we're going to lean more towards the industrial metal, militant, electronic metal side for this tour is probably safe. Let's see. Will the new album be on Spotify? Again, this is if you're having trouble with these albums on Spotify, it's because of some kind of deal with the album in your territory. The good news is that Blood Money, we're not making any deals with anybody on Blood Money Part Zero. So yeah, you should have no problems getting that one all the way around the world. But unfortunately, the other records, we did make deals with people, and therefore they have a lot of times the ability to create complications like what you're seeing. So I'm sorry about that. It's one of the reasons that I've committed to never making deals with people again. Are you excited to meet me on your tour bus? John wants to know. John, I couldn't be more excited to meet you on my tour bus. Yes, I'm counting the days until I meet you. I will fist bump you. Let's see. Music is my safe haven, says Jessica. I agree with you. Music is a very important part of all of us staying sane. Joshua wants to know when another single's coming for Blood Money Part Zero. I think in like less than 2 weeks. I know we're putting out the video for Believe on Monday. So make sure you guys tune in and check that out. And then I think within 2 weeks we're going to put out a new track that's called Fuck It Up, which is kind of like an old school new metal, typical dope song. I think you guys will dig. And then shortly after that, we have to release the full-length version of the No Respect video. And then, man, there's a whole bunch of shit coming. So just be patient. Our goal here is to just keep you guys fed with new shit every couple weeks between now and when the tour starts, and by then that's when the album comes out fully. So just enjoy your life and do what you do, and just know that every couple weeks you'll get a little stream of dope in your world, and hopefully you like it. And if you don't, I don't need to fucking hear about it on my Facebook page. Like, just keep it to yourself, dude. I love you all and appreciate it, but people are way too quick to like give their fucking dumbass opinion about some shit. Like, I'm not interested in your negativity. There's enough negativity in the world. Teddy says, dude, I'll never forget my hug from you. No homo. So it's okay, man. We're equal opportunists around here. Homo or not, I'll give you a hug. But I appreciate that the hug meant something to you. I'm only seeing meet and greets for Static X. Are there separate tickets? You got to go to dopetheband.com, Shelly, if you want to buy meet and greets for Dope. I believe that because we're not the headliner, if you're just going to purchase tickets for the show and purchasing a meet and greet, that will be Static X only. Will you finally acknowledge one of my hundreds of questions and just say, what's up, Dre? What's up, Dre? I think I just did what you asked me to do. Are you happy? Thoughts on Mark Shoulders wants to know thoughts on backing tracks when playing live. I have no problem with them because I use them, but there's a way to use them. I'm not a big into people that use backing tracks to like cover vocal parts that they can't sing, or like add a bunch of harmonies to vocals that no one on stage is singing. Like, I'm not really into that. But I think that, you know, electronic programming, if you don't have a keyboard player, which we don't anymore, I think that's important. Bands like Dope or Static X or Disturbed, like there's certain electronic and programming elements that are very important to the band's sound that need to be there. So I'm fully in support of those things. But I'm not into like Milli Vanilli. I'm not into bands having backing tracks that, you know, completely change what's happening. Like, if you took the backing tracks away from Dope, it would still sound like a badass 4-piece band. The only difference is you wouldn't hear electronics and programming shakers and things like that, which makes a big difference because it's a big part of the sound of the band. Same thing with Static X. But that's how I feel about that. Let's see. Favorite Van Halen song? Ooh, I'll tell you a story about Van Halen and how they negatively affected my life. And that's no hating on Van Halen because they're a phenomenal band. But when I was a kid, I went to Peach's record store in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I had saved my money, and I was there to buy Motley Crue's Shout at the Devil, because I had just seen the Looks That Kill video, and I was just fucking like this. I can't wait to buy this album. It had a pentagram on it. I knew my parents were going to freak the fuck out. And I was so stoked. And my Uncle Robbie took me to this Peach's record store. And I have the Motley Crue fucking Shout at the Devil album in my hands, and I'm so ready to take all the money out of my pocket and buy it. And as we're walking down the aisle, we walk by 1984 from Van Halen, and it's the baby on the front cover with the angel wings and the cigarette. And he goes, dude, you need to put that Motley Crue record back, and you need to buy this Van Halen record. And I'm like an impressionable young kid. I'm like, really, Uncle Robbie? Like, you think it's better? And he's like, dude, it's so much better. Like, this is the record you need to buy. It will change your life. And I was like, okay. Put the Motley Crue record back. I bought the Van Halen record. I went home and I was so sad. I put that thing on my fucking turntable and I played it, and it was not evil. It was not heavy and dark, and it was just not what I was hoping for at all. So my first real impression of Van Halen was so disappointing because it wasn't Motley Crue. So I worked that whole week. I mowed lawns and did whatever I had to do. And the next week he took me back to Peach's and I bought Motley Crue's Shout at the Devil, and it started with In the Beginning, and I was very, very happy for that. But my favorite Van Halen song, it'd probably be something like probably Running with the Devil. I mean, how can you not go with that? But yeah, anyway, so sorry for the long-winded story. I just thought that was a nice little anecdote of that you reminded me of Van Halen. So, all right. Speaking of Disturbed, have you heard their new song? I have not. I'm sure it's great though, man. Those guys are awesome, and they're just so good at what they do. And I'm very, very. It's very commendable that they have stuck by their guns and just they do what they do and it works really well and they're super talented and God bless them, and I wish them nothing but success. All right, I need to go down to the bottom of this thing because at the top I start reading things and they disappear. Okay, hear your top hit on Sirius XM Turbo all the time. Has to offer. Okay, I don't know what my top hit on Sirius is. Maybe it's Die Motherfucker Die, or maybe it's Addiction with Zach Wilde. I don't know, but awesome. Will your Will your brother take a break from? Will your brother take a break from programming video games and tour with you? Not on your life. My brother, shortly after leaving the band and moving on to his career, which has been fucking unbelievable, and now he's got a family and he just he's old as dirt and just lives a great life. He wasn't out of the band for maybe 2 years, and not even probably. And he came back to, I think it was either to play a couple shows with us or something. And he walks in the dressing room, and Virus is sleeping on a couch, and Mosey, who was in the band at the time, is like sleeping on the floor. And we had just done a long drive or something. And he walks in the room, he turns on the light. All the guys kind of look up at him, and he goes, "How could I leave all this behind?" Priceless Simon. So no, my brother is never coming back. I don't think that's in the cards. What's your favorite dope track you ever recorded? I can't answer that. Maybe if we go album by album, or like the purpose of the track, or if you said like what's the dopest song? Like I think the song "Violence" is probably like, if you said for what I think categorically sort of sums up dope, which is that industrial nu metal aggressive aggro thing, which is the majority of what we do live. Obviously I go outside the box a lot with songs like Sing and a bunch of other ones I can name, but I think for the most part that's how people sort of define us, as that industrial metal band. I think the song "Violence" or the song "No Way Out," those two do a really good job of saying this is how this band kind of tears your face off, but still keeps your head bobbing while they do it. So I really am proud of those. Thoughts on new Slipknot? Again, you guys are going to think I'm a fucking weirdo, but I don't really listen to much new music. I'm so busy, and I also don't really want to be influenced by what other people are doing. So most of the music that I listen to for enjoyment is shit that I was like into before I ever got a record deal, because I listen to it differently. I listen to it through ears that are like of a fan, where once I became a music producer and started to understand how to make music and how all the individual elements sound by themselves, it makes listening to new music less enjoyable, which is sad but true. But if you're going to ask me my thoughts on Slipknot, I mean, dude, like, again, a band that I toured with when they first came out, that, we were on tour with them, the first tour that they did after Ozfest, and there was no doubt that they were going to take over. So I have nothing but love for those guys and everything that they've done, and now they're arguably the biggest band in the world. Like, it's banana land, so God bless them. And Corey, who would have thought that, like, the dude in the fucking crazy mask with the whatever you want to call it, who would have thought that dude would turn out to be like one of the most talented, most prolific singer-songwriters of our time as well? Like, just so much good came out of Slipknot, like so much good. And I don't think that any of us, when we first heard that first record, as mind-blowing and nasty as it was, and still some of the coolest music I think I've ever heard, I don't think any of us had a clue how the depth of like how important Slipknot would be, and then all the cool shit that Corey Taylor has done on the side. I'm just a big fan. I can't deny it. But I haven't heard their new shit because I just haven't. Same thing with Ghost Hunter. I don't know a lot about them. Like I've heard a couple songs here and there, and it's cool. I thought they were going to be a lot heavier, just from the way they looked. And when I heard them, I was actually pleasantly surprised that they weren't, and they were a little bit more dancey and new wave-ish kind of. So I like what they're doing. I'm just not really familiar with it. But the music that's come across my airwaves that I've heard from Ghost, I thought was really cool. Um, So Zach says maintaining perspective on your own stuff. I don't really know what you mean. I'm sorry. Favorite dope album that I've ever done? I would say No Regrets. I think that record really kind of peaked. I think it's the best sounding and the widest record that really tells a great story of what the band is capable of doing. Now, kind of like the nastiest, coolest record, I think was American Apathy. I'd love to go back and with what I know now about songwriting and structure and production, I would love to like redo Felons and Revolutionaries, because I think that there were some really cool songs that just sort of got lost and weren't fully realized, and I didn't really understand how to sing on that record yet. Like the for instance, there's a song on the first album called Kimberly's Ghost that a lot of people really like, but like if I was to record that song today with what I know about my voice and my ability to sing and harmonies, and man, that song could have been really, really good. It's hard for me to even listen to it now because all I do is hear what it could have been. I feel that way about a lot of songs on the Life record too. I feel like I didn't really hit my stride of understanding what I was capable of doing until our third album, Group Therapy, which I think was also a very well done album that's a bit underrated because we didn't have a label at the time. And back then, you know, everybody had labels, so we went independent way before most people did. So that record didn't get a lot of ears on it, but I think that record was pretty well done too. You really need to write a book, Shelby says. I've thought about it. I probably will someday. I just I got more to do first, but I appreciate that. Um, let's see. Thoughts on the new Batman movie? Well, I love the old Batman movie. I love the Michael Keaton Batman movies. All right, here's my take on Batman. I want you to do one or the other. I either want you to go full on comic book fantasy land like Tim Burton did, where when you watch it, you just suspend belief and you know that it's bullshit, but it's an incredibly entertaining film. Or I want you to go the other way, and I want you to like make it believable that it could actually happen now. And I feel like the new one, they tried to do that. They tried to make it like non-comic booky, non-fantasy, like it could really happen now. And they sort of accomplished that, but I feel like they went they just there was a little bit lacking in that. Like I could have done without Catwoman. I'm a dick for saying it, but like if she could have just been the love interest in the film, but not had to be a cat burglar. Like, well, I didn't need that. It didn't make the movie better to me, but it made the movie less believable when they had started to paint a picture of like, okay, we're doing Batman in a 2022 way where we're gonna kind of make you believe that this could actually be real. That was my take on it. I think I would have liked it a lot better if Catwoman would have just been a girl, love interest, and not made me have to suspend more of my own reality to enjoy the movie. But I'm not hating on it, but that's what made me not love it. But I love the first two, the Michael Keaton ones, but I'm also old as shit, but I really love the cartooniness of those. John Shimmer wants to know if I'm Zero. Well, see, John, you put the correct spelling of Zero. So yes, I am Zero. But again, watch the video because I'm admitting to being Zero from Drama Club. The Static X Zero shit is hilarious to me because I feel as if it's been made very clear that the reason that Static X has no desire to put a new face to the band is that as long as they do not, then Wayne will always be the face of Static X. And I think that that's the point. And I think that's what all of the fans ultimately want as well. But when asking who's behind the mask and being so persistent, let me put it to you like this. Let's just pretend that Dino from Fear Factory is the singer of Static X under the mask, okay? And the Static X guys and Dino have spent a long time trying to, put this thing together and share it with the world and work with Wayne's family and really try to make sure that the emphasis remains on the original founding members of Static X, which is Ken, Koichi, Tony, and Wayne. And we live in a world where most press outlets aren't journalists. They're not interested in being respectful. They're not interested in working along with you. Most of them are just interested in clicks and more interested in thinking that they're actually comedians and that they're here to just like poke fun at everything as if they're some kind of witty, entertaining fucking force. But they're not. Like they're just a bunch of jabronis that sort of they're reminiscent of the trolls. Like they have, it's sad to say, but most press outlets, journalists, have a very troll mentality to them. So if Static X were to come out and say, yes, we admit it, Dino from Fear Factory is Zero, he's the guy under the mask, do you think that those press outlets would continue to respect Static X, and when listing the band in a photo would say Static X is Tony, Koichi, Ken, and Zero? Or do you think they would start scratching out Zero and writing Dino Castrino or whatever his last name is? Like, of course they would, because that puts them in a position to where they can now call out what they think it is and tell their story. But this is not their story to tell. This is Static X's story to tell. And this is Wayne Static's family story to tell. So from me working with those guys behind the scenes, that's the main reason that they're as protective about not wanting to confirm an identity for the person behind the mask. It's really just out of respect. They want the character to be referenced as Zero. The lead singer of Static X, his name is Zero. There will never be another living, breathing face or singer to Static X other than Wayne. So that's it. People can speculate all they want. I'm happy to honestly, celebrate the things that I have been involved in with those guys to help them rebuild the band and to bring it back and put it on big stages and to reconnect with that audience and to hear the songs live and loud because I'm a huge fan. But I think everybody needs to just like chill out and realize that there's a bigger thought process going on. It's not like Static X is just, trying to troll people or like playing games. They're really not. They're just trying to protect what they want their story to be and not allow a bunch of fake journalists to dictate what the story is for them. So what did you enjoy most about your time with the side project Makeshift Romeo? Again, we're talking about Little Sinister, who's one of my best friends in the world, but I never intended to be in that band. All I intended to do was produce that band. And Little Sinister has a talent level that's at like a 10. He's got an ambition level that's at like a 3. And an execution level that's at about a 3 as well. But he's got a girl chasing ability at like a 10 as well. So I helped put that band together with those guys and helped a lot of record labels get interested in them. And then the band just kind of dropped the ball and didn't deliver. And it ultimately just kind of did not do what it had the capabilities of doing. And then I just didn't want to see it go to waste. So me and Virus sort of kind of came in and helped to finish it up and sort of breathe life back into it so we could at least do a couple tours and finish the album and put it out so people could hear it and it wouldn't end up being a waste. But my favorite part of it was being able to play drums live in front of big crowds because I grew up being a drummer and always thought that I would be a drummer. I never, until I was old enough to understand the business part, I always thought that I would have made my career playing drums, not ever being a singer, frontman, whatever you want to call it. So I loved being able to sit behind a drum set and play drums. That was awesome. And doing it in front of a crowd on a drum riser, like that was really super dope. So to anybody that got to see that, I was really fucking having fun up there playing drums every night. Um, let's see here. I don't have that makeshift Romeo drum set anymore. I got rid of it. It was truthfully, it was a piece of shit. It was just like a crappy Pearl kit that we literally because this was a long time ago where like nobody made flat black drums back then, like matte black drums. So we just went to Home Depot and bought roofer's tin, cut it to the size of the drums, took all the lugs off, and then literally took a roller and flat black house paint and painted the roofer's tins flat black, wrapped them around the drums, put the gloss black lugs back on them, and like the kit looked fucking amazing. But that kit was a piece of shit. So I actually got to deal with DW now, which I'm super stoked about. So I have a beautiful like purple sparkle DW kit in my studio now that I play on a daily basis, and for the songs that I tracked on Blood Money Part Zero, I played that kit, and then Dan tracked a bunch of songs as well. So who else we got? Have I seen the Motley Crue Stadium show? I haven't. I love those bands, but I'm just not interested in going to live shows to hear. Like I saw those bands back in the earlier days, and I don't know. I'm just not inspired to go see it. It also seems like it's weird to think about seeing Motley Crue in the daylight. I don't know. But no, I haven't seen it. If you could cover a country song, like old school country, what would it be? And I mean, I wouldn't do it because I don't have the vision or the passion for it. I don't know, maybe You Are Always on My Mind from Willie Nelson, but I'd have to be really fucking drunk, and I would only do it for personal reasons. Would you consider hip hop an influence in dope? This is Zach asking me this. I don't know if I would use the word hip hop, but like, especially when I was doing that drama club project, like we were all over the place into just electronic music of every type, and that whole trap thing kind of hit as we were doing drama club, and trap was a lot of hip hop beats, so some of that like became a bit of an influence, but in dope not a lot. I mean, no more so than you would say like Korn. Like Korn definitely has hip hop influences, probably more than dope too, because they were a little bit more of that thing. But I don't know. I think dope is more just rock and roll and metal. Like I don't think there's a lot of hip hop in it. I think there was a lot of hip hop in our attitude. The fact that we sold drugs to kind of build our financial war chest to make our demos and to ultimately get our record deal. That was what I borrowed from the hip hop community, from NWA. Really was like, how can I be independent and not have to rely on others, was more from a business standpoint, not necessarily a musical standpoint. Let's see. What was the easiest dope album to record? I mean, probably the first one, because I did it in my fucking bedroom. And then I got a record deal, and then they put me in this big expensive studio, and we ended up using 90% of what I recorded in my bedroom. So that was probably the easiest one. I'm kind of a crazy person. I have a lot of anxiety, and I have too much control as part of the problem too. Like, because I'm the face of the band, and it's ultimately, for lack of better words, my band, and I make the decisions. I'm the producer, and I mix the albums, and like, so I have so much control from beginning to end that it's really hard for me to let it go. That's the hardest part of making albums for me, is that I go down the rabbit holes of like, ooh, well, I could try this and I could try this, and it's a fucking song, so it's never ending. You could try something every day on a song for the rest of your life and never finish it. And because I like challenges, and I just get caught up in these, like I said, these rabbit holes that I create for myself, it makes it hard for me to finish albums. So it's part of why it took me so long to finish this album, but also because I have so much more going on. But man, there's so much fucking music, dude. There's probably another 25 songs that could have made Blood Money Part Zero if I could have just finished this part of it or this part of it. So man, I wish that we lived in a day and age where if I played something over a Facebook Live, that it wouldn't be on YouTube tomorrow. Because I would love nothing more than to be able to play you guys like all these unfinished songs that are on my hard drives and go like, should I finish this one or this one? Like, which one do you like better? Like, I would love to involve you guys in that process, but in the world that we live in, as soon as I play it for you, somebody's gonna be there fucking recording it, and it's gonna be on YouTube tomorrow, and then it's like, oh, thanks, now my demo that I haven't finished yet is out there. So if you guys can figure out how to solve that problem, I would be down to hear it, because I would really love to be able to play you guys music as I was working on it, because I would love your input. If you ever need an engineer, bro, I'm good at analysis. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, Zach, it's good to know. But again, I work from home, and I'm very self-contained, and it's part of my problem. Let's see. Oh, look, somebody from Dope that works with me is in here commenting. Fucking A. I got a good team. All right, let's see. It's not an anxiety, it's a perfectionist standpoint. Yeah, that's probably true, Thomas, but I do have anxiety too, man. I'm a fucking crazy person. I know it, but I just have gotten old enough now to where I just don't let other shit control me. I just like become really self-aware and try to take deep breaths, and I'm not perfect by any stretch, but I think the older we get, the more patient we get. Kelly wants to know how my baby is. She's awesome. I can't wait to go home and see her. Her mother bought her this new little toy play set where it's got like a water faucet that actually has water in a little tank, so she sits there and like washes her dishes, and she's so fucking cute, it's ridiculous. And she's just now about to turn 2. So everything I understand about kids is that like a year from now she's gonna be like in such an amazing age, because she won't be in diapers anymore. She'll be communicating a lot better, and we'll be able to do a lot of really fun stuff. So I enjoy this whole dad thing. Tony wants to know, why do I hate You Spin Me Around? I don't really hate it. It's just so stupid. Like, I would never in my life have written a song that the chorus was "You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record, baby." Like, it's so fucking stupid. And I didn't even choose to do it for like creative purposes. I got a phone call from a really good friend of mine who is in the industry, and he said, Edsel, I'm working on the soundtrack for this new movie coming out called American Psycho. And I was like, ooh, I've heard of this. It's a book, and it's really fucking weird. And he said, yes. And he said, the soundtrack is going to have David Bowie, and I can't even remember who else is on it. Depeche Mode maybe, but like really cool 80s shit. And he goes, I want you to do a song for it, and it's going to be track 1 on the soundtrack. And I was like, okay, what are we doing? And he goes, but the catch is you got to do You Spin Me Around Like a Record. And I went, motherfucker. Then we did it, and it came out fucking really cool. And we made it very industrial and dirty, but I just like to make fun of myself on stage, and like it's sort of my way of letting everybody in the crowd know that like I don't take myself too seriously, especially the music part. Like, I think that, you know, we're all in a room to come together and have a good time and escape all the serious shit in our life. So I like to take that moment when I announce You Spin Me Around every night to just call it the stupidest fucking song in the world, because I think it gives people, it makes everybody laugh, and makes everybody remember that like we're here to like enjoy our time together. Even though some of the music's heavy and we're letting out other parts of our energy, at the end of the day, it's a celebration of us being together and having fun together. So I just like to lighten the mood with making fun of Spin Me Around every night. We can listen to demos on the tour bus meet and greet. Yeah, there's something to be said about that. I did that for Blood Money Part 1. I did listening parties where I played unfinished versions of songs for people under headphones, and that was really cool, and I would totally do that again. I just have to have the time. I don't think I have time to do that on this upcoming tour. but maybe. And then also, like, when it's just a standard meet and greet on the bus, like, people want to talk and hang out. They don't want to be stuck under a fucking pair of headphones. And I can't just play it through speakers because, again, some dickhead will have his phone in his pocket. Ooh, look at my little girl. Look at her. So cute. Some dickhead will have their phone in their pocket and they'll hit record, and then, again, they'll put the shit on YouTube. So that's just the world that we live in. Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, Metallica or Megadeth. Man, like, I like Metallica and Megadeth. I really do, and I really like Dave Mustaine's voice a lot. I don't know. I like them both. I don't think that I have to pick one over the other. And then as far as Amber Heard or Johnny Depp, I don't really know enough about it, and I didn't follow the trial, but they seem to both be a little fucking crazy and eccentric. I think if Johnny Depp was guilty of doing the things that she accused him of, it was a really bad idea for her to shit on his bed and to do some of the things that she did that ultimately make her a very, very bad witness. And that's all I got to say about that. I can't, I'm a big believer in, I don't like any aspect of any dude putting his hands on a woman or abusing a woman in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if he did that. If he did, then I certainly would like to smack the shit out of him myself. But I don't know what happened. But I do know she seems to be a bit fucking kooky. And he's obviously kooky, so maybe they were just both too kooky for each other and they should just be with other people. I think it would have been much better for both of them if they just would have kept their business private. But then again, they probably made like $20 bazillion from fucking airing that shit to the world like a real life soap opera. Like, don't kid yourselves. They got rich as fuck doing that. What song would you love to cover? Eric is asking me. Dude, I've covered so many songs in my career. Like, every single album I've ever put out has a cover song on it, I believe. Maybe the Life record was the only record that didn't have a cover song. Mudvayne or Rob Zombie or Static X or Power Man 5000. I mean, I like them all. Toured with them all. I think it's hard not to put Rob Zombie at the top of that list just because he's the baddest motherfucker who's done it longer and done it better than any of us. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's the fucking Godfather. So I got nothing but love for Rob and everything he's done all the way back to the White Zombie days. He's just a bad motherfucker, man, and making movies, and like, I don't care if you like his movies or not, that motherfucker's doing it. Like, that's a dude that like sets goals and lives his dreams, and I got nothing but love for somebody that is able to be that successful in art. God bless him. And his wife is super sweet, and the way that they interact with one another and share everything in their life together, like, they're like made for each other. So I don't know, that guy's life is pretty amazing. It's pretty something to definitely look at and admire. Have I ever been approached to star in a movie? I have not, and I think I'm probably too old now. However, I did write a movie that at some point I need the time to go and put it through the proper channels to see if it's something that other people will believe in as much as I do. But no, I've never been asked to star in a movie. What's happening to my hat here? Were you a huge White Zombie fan? I don't know if I would say huge, but I would say I really like White Zombie. And I really like... they did a remix album of White Zombie. It was called like Super Sexy Swingin' Sounds. That was like, man, that was cool as fuck. Like, it really like made industrial metal like danceable. And there's this dude named Charlie Clouser who is a keyboard player. I think he was in Zombies band for a while, but he was part of like Trent Reznor's production team as well, who did some remixes on that Super Sexy Swingin' Sounds record that was fucking awesome. So I really liked that record. Would you consider a collaboration with Jan Warman of Children of Bodom? This is going to sound fucked up. I don't know anything about that band. But I'll consider a collaboration with anybody. I mean, he probably don't know who the fuck I am either. Like, you probably hit that dude up and ask him about Etzel Dope, and he'd be like Rob Flynn, and be like, who? Like, who's that fucking dude? That guy hasn't done shit in years. That's the weird thing about being an artist, man. You kind of live in your own little bubble, and unless you're friends with people, like, you kind of disconnect from what's happening in the world around you a lot. So I don't know. Tint my eyebrows and shave, and I'll look like I'm 25. Shit, you don't know what's under here. I'm old. When you did Rebel Yell, oh, I lost the question. Shit. Rebel Yell turned out really good, though. I don't know what your question was, but I will tell you that I'm super, super, super super, not grateful. Yeah, sure, grateful too, but super happy with the way that turned out. I think I think that song, that cover song, really, you could play that for anybody and I'll be proud. I'll be like, yeah, that shit came out good. Sang it really good. Dude, I got nothing but love for Rob Flynn. Like, that was just a misunderstanding. I totally understand why he said what he said. I just didn't think he should have said it publicly. But we squashed that shit really quick. I've always been a big fan of Rob. I think Rob is a massively talented dude who, again, has succeeded at a level that most people, will never imagine. And he's done it all with a guitar and a microphone. Like, it's really something to be commendable. So I have nothing but love for Rob, and I don't take one stupid little mishap personally. Like, it's all good. Life's too short. Mike is saying, I gotta go to work, but we love you, brother. Awesome, Mike. Go to work. Make that fucking money, dude. Any story or memories from the early Cold Chamber Amen tour? Yeah, I got some for sure. We didn't work well with the guys in Amen. That dude that singer dude I'm gonna say because I don't know who he is these days, but back then he had some serious fucking control, like anger issues, and he like started a whole fucking drama with us for no reason. Never walked up to me and put his hand out to shake my hand and get to know me. He was just very bitter that when we came on that tour that our band was playing above his band. And back then, because they were on the tour prior to Dope joining, he somehow had it in his head that like, oh, well, then Dope's going to play underneath them because they had been on the tour longer, as if tours are put together with seniority, which is not how it works. Like, we were selling 5 times as many records as they were at the time and had just a lot more heat. And that's what dictates where you go on a bill. So we were contracted to go on after them, and he threw a shit fit about it and was just super unprofessional and just a total jackass, and ultimately tried to break some of our equipment on stage, and it was just so stupid. And ultimately it was horrible for them because they got kicked off the tour. And we were like, all right, well, it was our second day on the tour. We were like, I don't know what to tell you. So again, life is long, and I hold no grudges. So I would shake that dude's hand tomorrow too, because I would only hope that he's progressed, and it's been 20 years, and hopefully he's like in a healthier mind state and more mature and all is well. But back then, that dude was fucking bananas. Let's see. A lot of Static X comments, a lot of compliments about the Static X record. I appreciate that. I worked hard to help those guys make a really good record. Let's see. Let's see. How was touring with Mushroom Head? Those dudes were great, man. Like, they, I'll be perfectly honest. Like, it's a long-winded story, like every story that I tend to tell. But Dope went through a really dark time after we left the major label. Like, once the World Trade Center fell, we were left in a really tough spot because we were on Epic Records, which was Sony Music, and we were pushing Die Motherfucker Die at the time, and the World Trade Center had just fallen. And much like the story I just told you about Amen, I wasn't very mature back then, and I didn't understand the marathon mindset of the business. So I was very unwilling to compromise or to play ball with Epic Records, and I made it difficult for them in a time where, you know, again, the World Trade Center had just fallen, and the world was in a very weird spot. Like, I didn't do them any favors with my stance on how I wanted to market that record. So we didn't last long on that album. You know, we did like one tour, and that was it. And Epic kind of washed their hands of us, and we were done. And that was at a time where there was no Spotify, there was no MySpace, even there was no social media. So we really were like trash. Like, we were kind of thrown out in the cold. And when you get dropped by a major label in 2002, like, you're fucking done. Like, this band was not supposed to have a career beyond that. And if you look back, most bands that got dropped around that time had no career. They're fucking lucky to play to 50 people today. We were one of the few that came out the other side and wound up bigger after leaving the major label than we were when we were on the major label. And the way I got into this story is because we spent probably 3 years between the Life record and the Group Therapy record, where we were a fully independent band in a van, like fucking grinding it out, playing the shittiest clubs you could play, really completely rebuilding our audience. And we were just starting to get some respect again. And Mushroomhead was the first band that called us and said, man, we're really big fans of you guys. We would like for you to open for us. And Mushroomhead at the time, they had Sun Doesn't Rise on the radio, and they were playing to a lot of fans. And I give them a lot of credit for being a big part of what helped Dope reconnect and sort of, again, we were on an upswing, and then doing all the Mushroomhead touring that we did in that time frame really helped give us more wind beneath our wings, and helped us to continue moving forward. And by the time our American Apathy album came out, American Apathy ultimately has outsold the Life record, which might not sound like much to you, but is an amazing fucking achievement. For you to have released albums on a major label and then gone indie, and then to have your independent albums outsell your major label albums, is kind of unheard of. So that was when we really knew that the band was gonna have a future, and that it wasn't over, and that we didn't die in the fire that the major label dropping us was supposed to be. And I'll always be grateful to Mushroomhead for being fans of Dope and for giving us that opportunity to tour with them. So those guys were great. Yeah, no, I know. Thomas is talking about Die Motherfucker Die and how it had a big impact on the military, and I know it's something that I never envisioned. So in many ways, Die Motherfucker Die was like one of the worst things to happen to this band, but also one of the best things, because it connected us with an entire not generation of people, but an entire group of people in the armed services that that song just became a battle cry for the Iraq War. And then also, from what I understand, a lot of people learn to fire a machine gun. They tell them to go die motherfucker and die motherfucker. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been on vacation and just some dude will see my knuckles and be like, "Are you in that band Dope?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, dude, I was in the military, and like, I learned to fire a fucking machine gun to die motherfucker die. So it's something that, if you would have asked me 25 years ago the trajectory of my career, if I would have ever imagined that, like, I would somehow be part of tons of people's military experience, I would have been like, you're fucking crazy. But like, dude, they played that song over fucking speakers as tanks rolled into towns. And like, I've got stories, and I'm sure soldiers that are listening have way better stories than I do. But I got a lot of really good friends that I met because of that song, because they were in the military and we just hit it off. And super grateful to all those dudes that risked their lives and put it on the line every day so that we can all enjoy being free citizens of, even though it's not a perfect country, it's still the best fucking country out there. All these fucking crying, complaining, whining motherfuckers need to like go live in Saudi Arabia for 2 weeks and see how much you want to bitch about America when you come back. Like, we have it pretty good here. And I think that for a person that suffers from depression and anxiety, one thing that I try to do is I try to start every conflict that I have in my life, or every day even, from a position of three things. Am I warm? Because being cold is like one of the worst things. Like, if you're a homeless person and you're fucking outside and it's freezing cold, like, that's like, there's hardly anything more miserable than that. So start your day by waking up and saying, am I cold? And if you're not cold because you're fortunate enough to have a roof over your head, well, that's fucking plus number one. Are you starving? Do you have food in your refrigerator or in your belly? You're not like literally starving, because there's a lot of people around the world and in this country that are starving. So that's number two. And then, is anyone shooting at you? Because again, in this country, but more so around the world, you know, look at fucking the Ukraine right now. There are people that literally walk outside their house and they're being shot at. So if you can wake up, or you can look at a conflict that you're having in your life, and you can start it from the reality that you're not cold, you're not hungry, and you're not being shot at, that's a really good place to start. Like, that's a really good baseline to go, like, okay, now how upset am I that, like, that just happened, whatever it was that just happened, and just dial it down, man. Be grateful for those simple things, because there are so many people suffering, and you're probably not suffering from those three things, which is pretty incredible. Let's see here. I'm going to do this for like another, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and then I got to get onto some other shit. Greg says I called him a knucklehead when I autographed his leg. Well, that's because you probably told me you were going to get it fucking tattooed on you or some shit. And I was like, you're a fucking knucklehead. Don't do that. I still advise not having my autograph tattooed on your body. However, if you insist, then have us sign a piece of paper. That way it's nice and clean and you don't sweat it off, and then you can take the piece of paper to your tattoo artist at the appropriate time and he can trace it, and then you can get a good tattoo. But Chris wants to know, how hard was it to stay focused during the making of the music video for Bitch? Yeah, let me just say that I had some shit on my mind, and I could not wait for that shoot to wrap, because I had some plans. And they were good plans. I was a young man, so that was a good day. That was a good day. Let's see. What city are you in? I am currently in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, on tour with my bros in the band Static X. Some of you may or may not know that in addition to being the executive producer on Static X's project Regeneration, I'm also the day-to-day manager of the band. So I am out here handling business with these guys while they finish up this tour with Rob Zombie and Mudvayne, which has been unbelievable. They've been crushing it every night. It's been really awesome, because Static X is going on right as the sun is going down, so it really feels like Ozfest 2000. Like, it's Static X on a huge stage with a big giant Wisconsin Death Trip backdrop, and they're playing the Wisconsin Death Trip hits, and it's the big seated, amphitheaters like Ozfest was on, so it totally feels like you're watching Static X in a time warp from 1999, 2000. And if you just squint or you close your eyes, man, it's those original three dudes, and Wayne's not there, but man, it really sounds great and it really looks great, and I feel like it's the best Static X experience that you can get without Wayne being here, and I feel like it's being done for all the right reasons, with all the right amount of love and respect and support from Wayne's family. So I'm really, really happy for those guys. If you've never met those guys, there are not three nicer human beings on the planet. Especially Koichi. Like, so many people never got to know Koichi because of the language barrier. But he's absolutely, he's an amazing, amazing guy. Let's see. Let's see. I did not get to meet Billy Idol. I've seen him live, but did not get to meet him. Let's see here. Detroit, early days, my youth. Next dope, Ken wants to know. Well, it's already been announced and we're already releasing material, so check it out. How are you wearing long sleeves in Texas? Because I'm in a hotel room and I have air conditioning, so I'm good. Would you do a collab with Twisted? I know those guys. They're really cool. I mean, we've actually talked about doing something together. It just hasn't happened. Again, there's only so many hours in a day, so I can only do so much, and I'm so focused on, just trying to do what's right for Dope and for Static X, and then more importantly for my family, and also for my tech company that's, really going to be a big part of my future. But I only have so many hours in a day, and I really like to focus on, the stuff that's near and dear to my heart. Let's see here. You can rewind this thing. I told my thoughts on the Pantera reunion tour. I feel like I need to see it, and if it makes me feel good when I see it and it feels like Pantera, then fucking awesome. But I can't judge it until I see it. Let's see. I did Jamie Joss's podcast one time. Ross wants to know about that. I did it with Tony Campos, actually, when we were talking about some Static X stuff. But yeah, I would imagine sometime in the next couple months I'll do Jamie's podcast. I also want to do Rob's because, again, I haven't connected with Rob in a really long time, and I really respect him. So I think that both of those will happen. Let's see here. So Diana says she has a 7-year-old son named Zion, and he wants to know, how do I make such awesome music? Well, that's a very sweet question, Zion. I don't know how to answer that. I've been doing this a really long time. And it starts with just putting one foot in front of the other, proverbially. Nowadays there's all kinds of cool music softwares that you can get, and you just start creating a beat, and then you just go from there. But I appreciate the compliment. I see what you did there. Let's see. I need to tell my wife to relax, that I'm in the middle of work right now. Maybe she's watching. Relax, honey. I'm working right now. I will get back to you very soon. Kiss the baby for me. Everything is good. Let's see. Can we get Felons and Apathy on vinyl? They did release Apathy on vinyl. I had nothing to do with it, but the label did a while ago. That's a possibility in the future, but we're working on a 25th anniversary version of Felons that'll come out on like orange vinyl and be super awesome. But that's still a year or two away. But it will happen at some point. Will you play No Chance in Hell, Mr. McMahon's theme song? I doubt it. I just, not enough people know it, but that was a really cool thing that we did. I wish that he would have embraced it more, because I feel like he ended up, there was an original version of it that was more of like a rap version, and I feel like that's what he always used when he came out, when I truthfully feel like the version that we did was so much better. We added some really cool parts in there that I thought that it would have been a better song for him to come out to, but so it never really got much steam, so I don't think that we'll ever play it. Let's see. How is Nick Dibbs? Nick is good. He's living in Arizona, in Sedona. Nick just kind of went off the grid for a while. Grew a big beard. You can see him in the Believe video. He's got a big ass beard now, and still got great hair. He just needed to have a little change. So he's been living out there and flying his drones. And Nick's big into the desert, and he likes shooting guns. So he's out there shooting guns and flying drones around and being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. He's a trip. Let's see. I'm gonna do a couple more, and then I'm gonna go because I got more shit I gotta do, and it never stops. Let's see. Chris says, my mom said your band was evil. I was young. Made me love you even more. See, that's like my Motley Crue story. Like, something about being young and, like, being into bands that you think are dangerous. That was my problem with Van Halen. They weren't dangerous compared to Motley Crue. Let's see. I gotta go down to the bottom of this thing. There's too many of you guys, and you're going too fast for me. Nicholas says, I'm sure it's harder to leave home nowadays. Where did it go? Went away again. Harder to leave home nowadays. Do you plan to keep... Oh no, I lost it. I'm sorry. I think you're just asking me. Yes, it is harder to leave home these days, and I think that because of that, I will probably, not tour as often as I did back in the day. But I haven't been doing that anyway, so that's no big surprise. All right, a couple more, and then I'm gonna end this thing. Ooh, okay, there's a red button that just says end live video, so that makes it simple. I haven't done this enough. I'll do these more frequently in the future. Let's see. What is the website to pre-order the new album? www.dopetheband.com. And if you don't want to buy nothing, you can just sign up and they'll send you the digital version of the album for free. If you tour less, will there be records more frequently? No, probably not, because I haven't toured a ton in the last 6 or 7 years either. I just watch the video, Cordell. Take 10 minutes of your life. I'd appreciate it. And just go to the Dope Facebook page and watch the penned video, and it'll help you understand what's going on with my life. And, it's hard for me to tour as much as I used to. But, again, let's focus on what's in front of us. We got a big tour coming up in February. It's actually going to be really great. I feel like it's Static X, Fear Factory, and Dope, who haven't toured together since 1999. If you're a fan of industrial metal and strobe lights, I think you're going to be super, super stoked. All right, I'm going to do one more, and then I'm out of here. Let's see. Have I ever met Marilyn Manson? Yes. In fact, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale and knew all those guys prior to them ever getting a record deal. And in fact, the true story is I was a drummer at the time and playing in another band. And Manson actually, before he had a drummer, asked me if I wanted to audition for his band back in the day, which I just didn't have the right disposition. I would have been fired from that band. And then ironically, my best friend in the world, whose name is Kenny, who became Gingerfish, ended up joining Marilyn Manson, and now he plays for Rob Zombie. But yeah, I've known all the Manson guys for years. Daisy was actually one of my really good friends. Rest his soul, he passed away recently. But yeah, I go way back with those dudes. Yeah, all grew up in the same town, grew up breathing the same air. All right, everyone. I appreciate you guys for taking the time in this little chat. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for giving a shit about what I do. We'll do this again. I'll be home next week, and as we get closer to the tour and to releasing more material, you guys will probably have more questions, and as you listen to more of the material, we can discuss it more. But Monday, look for the full-length video of Believe. Shortly after that, we'll be releasing a brand new song called Fuck It Up. and then we'll be releasing the full-length video for No Respect, and more and more and more and more and more. So I love you guys. I appreciate all your time. If you haven't watched the 10-minute infomercial that talks about Blood Money Part 0 and sort of catches you up on my life and my wife and my kids and all that shit, it's pretty cool, and shares a bunch of other stuff. Helps you understand what Zero is, who Zero is, and also talks a little bit about my involvement with Static X. Check that out. It'll take literally 10 minutes of your life, and I think it's worth it. So I appreciate you all. Go to www.dopetheband.com and subscribe for the new album so that we can send it to you for free. And I'll see you guys again very soon. All right? Peace and love, and take care of yourselves, and don't take shit too seriously. All right? Be well.